Sexy time. Sexy time. What up, fam? Wise. Bow, bow, chicka, bow, chicka, bow, chicka, bow, chicka, bow, chicka, boom, chicka, boom. Yeah. Gains like this. Gains like this. Gains like this. Getting swole as fuck like this. Let me show you. Let me show you how to make those gains, fam. Let me show you how to make those gains. Thank you very much. I'll show you how to make some sick fucking gains. All right, let's do it. 902. Fire like this. Gains like this. Gains like this. Yo, fitness without the bullshit.
The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. The bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Test. Testing. Is this mic on? Testing. Testicles. Testing. Testicles. Testicles. Oh, welcome everyone to episode 900 and shdos of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, slaycast, and taintcast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps, and. So float some gorilla emojis if you're down with the crown. Papa Swolio is in town. Yes. So let's, first off, let me say a nice old big old thank you to our sponsors, Everest and K2, flexing on you. Oh, making sick fucking gains. Yeah. Today was arm day, and I thought, and me thinks, and me was dreaming last night. I was dreaming about the episode today. I really was. I was dreaming about the episode, and I had this little mini swole epiphany of what I wanted to talk about today. I want to talk about frequency and training volume. This has been something, excuse me, oh God, afternoon coffee got stuck in my gains. Let me clear my throat. Allow me to clear my throat. It's been kicked around on the interwebs about training frequency and full body workouts. You might have seen my latest YouTube video. You might follow me on YouTube and check YouTube stuff out. And I wanted to clarify a couple things because there are many different ways to make gains. And of course, it all starts with what you're trying to accomplish, what your goals are, what your experience is, what your time and your availability for the gym is. There's a lot of stuff you got to start with before you worry about, oh, what's the best way? First off, what's your best way? All right, what's your best way? We'll get into that in a second. Anyway, if you have questions, and this is about training volume, and training volume means sets and reps and how much you're doing in a given workout or in a given week, and also training frequency, which means how frequently you are lifting and how frequently you are having resistance training sessions. And for argument's sake, we're going to talk about a 7-day period. We're going to talk about a 7-day period because most people go based off the week. So we will just treat it as a week, but just be aware that, setting up a week and talking about a week is really arbitrary. It's how we organized the year and the calendar year and all that stuff. So, but we're using a 7-day period, a 7-day window, because most people do that. And we have our repeat every 7 days, Monday through Sunday, of course. So first off, let me use a little bit chapstick. I need to moisturize. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And my lips are hydrated. Boom. That's how easy it is. You like that? Now I can talk and I won't be parched. So I thought I'd share that with all of you rather than do it before going live. I like making it awkward. I like making it kind of like awkward, like, we're all here and we're all watching me do something that's just slightly uncomfortable. I like that. Skip leg days. Oh, for shame. No. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, remember, this is live. We're live right now on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. And of course, the podcast people, you can find it everywhere. You can find it on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Daily Swole Podcast. And for those of you that might not know, I want to make this clear because I know on swolenormousx.com, you can go and click on podcast and, go right to the link. There is also I have another podcast, the Swolenormous Audio Experience. So you should subscribe to both because the audio experience is little snippets. It's usually like a few minutes, maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, sometimes up to like 10, 15 minutes stuff throughout the day. But it's on like little mini topics, and they could be very inspirational. They could be very tactical. So I highly recommend you subscribe to my other podcast. I like to keep things organized. So this is more long form content. This is going to be, a little bit more discussionary topics that are going to be expounded upon over the course of maybe 30 minutes, an hour plus, depending on the topic and who's on, if we have guests and things like that. So if you're interested, make sure to check out and subscribe to the Swolenormous Audio Experience, and you can find some cool content over there. Shorter form if you want to get like little snippets of raw, uncut shit that I do throughout the day and the week and stuff. So check that out too. What's going on, IG? What up? I'm on the road 5 days a week. What do you recommend for good weekly yoga practice? As often as you can. If you're on the road and you're driving, you should probably practice yoga more frequently and with more intention rather than just casually, because if you're in that hip flex position, you probably need it more often. So what I recommend is as often as you can do it. As often as you can do it. Really. Really. And that's where this conversation is probably going to start, because it all comes down to, and let me preface this whole, and drop the comments below. Keep the comments rolling, keep it going. Let's get this really, I want to have this episode be a little bit more conversational and interactive, because a lot of you are going to have questions based on that. But this really all stems from foundationally, first off, what your experience is, what your goal is. And I encourage all of you to be very realistic with what is going to actually happen, your goals. It's one thing to have a lofty goal, and you'll see a lot of this inspirational shit on Instagram. Don't set reasonable goals, shoot for the stars, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I think you need to have a realistic goal, and a realistic goal that reflects your ability to achieve it. And what I mean by that is not that you shouldn't be having lofty goals, but if you only have 3 days a week to train, it doesn't mean you can't see a ton of progress, but you have to really approach it psychologically a different way. It's not like you have all the free time in the world. You have all the ability to try all these different styles. You're going to have to probably stick to one thing and really be focused and super consistent because you have limited time to train. Does that make sense? It's not just about whatever you want. Hey, I want to get huge. Okay, I'll get huge. It's like you got to really strap in. You got to really plan out your training if you only have limited time. Not everyone can train, or not everyone has the ability to get to the gym 5 or 6 days a week if they wanted to. Not saying that's the best thing to do, but not everyone can do that. Not everyone can have all the time, right? So it depends on what you're trying to accomplish and what time you actually have available. Oftentimes people pick goals and try to go after something, and they don't realize that they're structuring their whole programming wrong around what time they actually have available. They're not matching up their goals and their training, or their training with their goals and their available time. So it's not that simple. Just hey, I want to do this. Well, you have to make sure you have the time to do it, and you're allotting the right amount of time, and you're programming properly with the time you have available. Very good. Frank on Facebook, I was impressed with the skier. Oh, that disappeared. Let me check my phone. I was impressed with the skier squats you posted today. Totally different than how I do them, form, and then the message cuts off. Thanks, Facebook, for not really showing me everything. Love the skier squats. I'm doing them since Dash posted the instructional video. Nice. Yeah, if you didn't check out that video, I posted on Facebook too, and Instagram, the skier squats in my feed. Mary, what do you think about CBD oil? Couldn't be further from the topic today, but if you try it and you like it, then go for it. I think marijuana and CBD and all that shit should be legal everywhere if it's not already, and it will be eventually. I think there's a lot of health benefits you can get from that stuff, for sure. I'm not an expert on it. Not against it. Preston Pasqua on IG. I have a gym at school that I signed up for, and I want to work out at the school gym for 1 hour at lunch and then 1 hour at the actual gym. Is that bad? No. But this episode is going to be really good for you to figure some stuff out about that. So let's jump right in and down the line, I'll see some questions. Sometimes the questions scroll through, so you might have to ask more than once, but make sure it's on topic. We're talking more or less volume and frequency of training. So, some studies have been done recently that show potentially that you can build more muscle and potentially more strength by doing total body workouts. And the reason for this, and don't just jump on the bandwagon like, oh, that's better. The reasoning for this is if you are swapping volume for frequency. So there's two different ways that you can see some sick fucking gains. There are different ways that you can build muscle. There are different ways that you can build muscle. And I am not saying go do full body, because I certainly won't be doing full body workouts all the time. I don't recommend you doing that all the time. I think specificity, I think isolation, I think volume and overload on specific, I think that's very important. I don't think full body should be the be all end all of your training. Okay. That could be a different phase. That could be for beginners. You could be using that intermittently. You could be using that as deloading phases, but to do full body all the time, not necessarily a huge fan of that. That's not how I made all my progress. Doesn't mean that you can't see progress with that. Doesn't mean it's not useful. So that being said, the logic and the science and some of the research, and it's not proven like, oh, this is the answer. This is the best way. It's just a discussion that's been, that some people are doing some studies on, and there's other factors in this. But when you're doing full body, okay? Let's assume you're doing all your muscle groups. So there could be a problem. There could be a problem with full body in the sense that if you're doing a full body routine, it is going to allow you or restrict you from doing specific or isolated body parts. You're going to be focusing more on compound movements because you're doing everything in one session. You're not going to be able to do as much or focus as much on biceps or triceps. You're going to be doing more like compound multi-joint movements, which is not bad. From a bodybuilding standpoint, okay, and this is where I want to draw the difference. If full body, and think about this, if full body was the best, right? The best, don't you think professional bodybuilders and people that are building physiques would use full body? They don't. They segment body parts. And the reason for that is if you're trying to do things for physique and for aesthetics, it's a different approach than just strength and muscle size. And if you're kind of new, no, it has nothing to do with steroids. Has nothing to do with steroids. Absolutely nothing to do with steroids. Because, and that's a cop out. Steroids just amplify the training and the nutrition. You don't just take steroids and magically have amazing bodies and amazing physique. It just amplifies what you're already doing. If you're not eating properly, training properly, steroids aren't going to be the answer for you. So you have to have that foundation first. So don't start going down that road, because there are people that do amateur and like bodybuilding, like I do bodybuilding type training. I don't compete, but I focus on, development and aesthetics as well as strength and mobility and stuff like that. So anyway, my point is, if you're doing full body workouts, you have less time to focus on individual muscle groups. So you're going to be doing, unless you're gonna be at the gym for hours and hours, which is not recommended, you are going to be doing less volume, less sets for each body part. Even if you did biceps or triceps, you're not gonna be doing as much. You're going to be breaking things up. You're going to be doing, let's say, a couple sets of bench. You're going to be doing a couple sets of legs, this, that, and the other. Okay. For me personally, I like to focus. I like to focus on certain areas because I like to make sure that those areas are warmed up. I like to do a nice, mobility routine. I like to activate the muscles. I like to focus on certain things. I do use full body workouts. Those of you that are in Swolenormous X and you have tried my programs and stuff like that, we do workouts like total body awareness, total body ignite. I am not against at all. Remember, I'm not against total body workouts. They're fantastic. There's no bad workout, really. It just depends on how that matches up with your goals, understand? So the difference and the logic and the comparison between a split routine is that if you're doing total body, yes, you might be doing less volume per each body part. You're doing less sets for each body part. However, you are also doing it more frequently. So let's say you're doing total body 3 days a week. You're doing each body part 3 days a week, right? You're training muscles 3 days per week. So you're doing less on each day, but you're training it more frequently. One of the issues in comparison with a split routine is that, let's say you split, and I don't do this. I don't do a chest day. I don't do a back day. I don't like splitting it up that much. My favorite split, or what I currently do right now, what I like and what I always gravitate to, is similar to a total body, similar to kind of like an upper lower split, because I like chest and back. And understand, when you're doing chest and back, let's say you're doing chest and back together, that's pretty much upper body. That's pretty much almost total body. It really is. You're using your biceps, you're using your shoulders, you're using your triceps. If you're doing deadlifts on back day, for example, you're engaging your lower body. So I like combining larger muscle groups. So I like doing kind of like an upper lower split, essentially. Chest and back is pretty much an upper body day, right? You'll call it chest and back, but you're using your arms. You're just not maybe isolating and doing triceps alone. You're not doing a tricep extension, or you're not doing a bicep curl, but you're using those muscles in assisting fashion for chest and back. Now, what I like with my personal split is I do like training more frequently. And as I've gotten older, and as I've had more experience, and as I put my body under more and more duress over the years, I have found that I naturally just don't want to train that long and do that much overload on individual body parts in the gym. I don't want to crush my chest or back once a week, murder it, and then come back to it in 7 days. I don't want to be that stiff, because it affects all the other body parts. It gets you fucking crippled, like you're just stiff as shit, and you lose that ability to create frequency with that type of overload. It's a little bit like maybe extra traumatic. It's a little too much trauma. It's almost on the borderline of macro trauma when you're kind of creating a car accident all the time. So long term, and that's where things like anabolics might help with that, because if you're taking steroids, it decreases your recovery time. I mean, Arnold famously did chest and back 3 days a week, but when you're taking anabolics, you recover super fucking fast. So he can crush it 3 days a week, and that's why you get so much bigger when you're taking anabolic steroids, because you're getting more frequency and you're recovering quicker, so your body can build more. Like, you're compressing how much time you'll see gain. So like, let's say 5 years, you're compressing into a shorter period of time, and you're getting more than you would naturally get, period. So, you still have to have your nutrition on point. You still have to have your training on point, and so forth. Coffee time. Let's see. They are saying for naturals, strength is directly correlated. Strength is always correlated with size. Of course, your body, your muscle fibers, strength is a component of hypertrophy and vice versa. So like, if you're increasing your size, yeah, it's important. Of course it's important. I mean, you're also not going to keep on getting endlessly bigger or endlessly stronger naturally. Okay, so it's important to be strong. At the same time, it's also important to be mobile. It's also important to not be crippled sore. It's also important to be realistic. It's important to be consistent. There's a lot of things that go into training. It's not, when you do a study, any kind of study, you're creating as much of a bubble as you possibly can. Do you understand? You're creating a complete bubble. A complete bubble. If you're doing a scientific test properly, you have as much of a vacuum environment as possible. You're isolating all the variables as much as you can in order to study what you're trying to study. Okay, you don't want interruptions. You don't want variables that are changing things. You want to make sure it's as strict as possible so you can get the most accurate results. Now, that being the case, how many of you live in a fucking vacuum? How many of you live in this environment where there are no variables? Bullshit. We have variables all the fucking time. All the fucking time. So, if you only have 3 days a week to go to the gym, you can try. You can try doing a full body 3 days a week. You can try doing an upper lower split. You can try these different things. They both work. They work. Okay, so anyone that's like, oh no, total body's better. They both work. Trust me, people have been doing splits for fucking decades, longer than total body. People that are trying to build muscle have been doing splits for years. You call them bro splits. You can be negative about them as all as you want. They fucking work. They literally work. So more than one thing works. Big shocker. Big shocker. You can build muscle doing both. Wow. Here's the thing. You're not going to necessarily notice that much difference doing one or the other. You're not going to notice that much of a difference. Like if you're training really consistently and you're doing both different ways, you might not notice, like it's very hard to compare because you have other things like what you enjoy, what you prefer, what you personally feel like works better for you, what your goals are. If your goals are weight loss and you're trying to lose a ton of weight, I actually do think that, okay, maybe total body would be great for you. Okay. If you're trying to compete, you're trying to be a bodybuilder, you're trying to create a physique, you definitely would need some isolation. You definitely need to focus on certain body parts because to create more shape with the muscles, to provide certain overload to maximize the proportions, you're not going to have necessarily that type of physique and the aesthetics that you have in your brain by just doing macro movements. And, you're not necessarily going to build evenly. You're not going to have necessarily big arms along with a big chest. There could be some things that you are missing if you are choosing total body. So my recommendation would be to try both, but also look at what your goals are and how much time you have to spend in the gym. Here's the thing. If you don't like to do total body workouts, you're less likely to stay consistent with that. If you don't enjoy what you're doing in the gym. Now, you've heard me say a lot of times, it's not a party, it's hard work. It's not entertainment. You're not going to the gym to have a fucking party. You're not going to the gym to have vacation. You're going to the gym to put in work. It's not fun or entertaining. You're going to get results. So there's that. However, if you like and you mesh with what you're doing, it's going to help you be consistent. It's going to help you get there when you don't feel like going. Some people like to focus on specific body parts. I like to kind of split it down the middle. I like to go frequently. I don't do as much volume anymore. I don't murder myself anymore. I like essentially doing chest and back. I'll do legs. I'll do arms. And then I'll take a day off and then I'll do chest and back. I'll do legs and I'll do arms. So I'll do like 6 days on, it's 3, 1, 3, 1. And sometimes I'll take a couple days off. And then usually after a couple weeks, I'll probably break it up and I'll do more total body or I'll do more stabilization stuff. I play around with different things. At the same time, my goal personally is not to get, my goal really isn't to get bigger because every time I go, I just don't feel like training like to that. I'm not stuffing my face with food. I'm not trying to get like massive. So my goal is different than, okay, I need to do total body in order to get bigger and get stronger and stronger no, not me. So there is that trade-off. You're not going to do high volume and high frequency. You'll break yourself. So understand that whatever you choose to try, and that's why for those of you that are members of Swolenormous X in the program vault, how I have the 3-day Swole split, that whole program series is you're going to have a lot more variants that reflect either total body workouts. Right now, I think I have kind of like an upper, lower, upper kind of thing in the 3-day Swole, but you're also going to get total body type program weeks. So that's what that's set up for. And there's many different styles. No more gains for Papa Swole. Bullshit. I have different things I'm working on. I work a lot with aesthetics. I work a lot with balance. I'm doing a lot with mobility. My goals have shifted because, trust me, when you're growing, when you're gaining, when you're crushing yourself, it's not fun to be crippled. Now you have some of the top bodybuilders in all of history that have done legs maybe once every 14 days. Tom Platz famously would crush legs once or twice a month because he would murder himself. At the same time, I don't necessarily recommend that. I've tried that type of stuff before, that type of like longer split and really high, super hard, intense crush yourself. I don't like that type of super low frequency and super high intensity and super high volume. Not a big fan of that. I prefer more frequent type training. Now, I don't always match myself up with a 7-day. So I sometimes might go off like a 10-day cycle. So instead of maybe repeating twice every week, it might be twice every 10 days. So you don't have to stay on a 7-day split. We just normally gravitate towards that because we do a Monday through Sunday type thing. So understand that you can manipulate those things. Just make sure that if you're increasing the frequency, that you are backing off on the volume and adjusting accordingly, because that's very stressful on the body. There might be periods where you feel overtrained, when you feel burnt out. Those are good opportunities to back off from a split and start dropping volume. So if you're dropping volume, you might want to increase the frequency. You might want to go from, instead of doing your classic, if you're doing that big split, if you're doing a chest and triceps, or chest by itself, you're doing that, to go towards maybe upper body or lower body, or even doing total body, and doing total body once every 2 or 3 days. Do it on Monday, do it on Wednesday or Thursday, and do it again on Saturday or Sunday, depending on your overall volume. And when you go from something like a split to total body and vice versa, there's also that initial alarm reaction. So you might switch to one thing and be like, wow, I'm getting great results. Well, you're also changing the stimulus on your muscles. You're changing the type of training. So you're going to get those types of, quote, newbie gains from shifting your stress. So you're going to feel sore again. Wow, that really crushed me. It's just a different thing than your body is used to. It doesn't mean it's going to stimulate more growth. It doesn't mean it's going to stimulate more strength, depending on how you executed it. So everyone's going to react differently. So you certainly cannot say that one is better than the other for an individual. It's very hard to say, because it depends on your ability to make it to the gym. It depends on your experience. It depends on how you execute the programming, how consistent you are, your nutrition, your sleep, and all those other variables that may shift you towards preferring a certain style of training over another. So maybe it's not for everyone, but it certainly can be used for a deloading week. It certainly can be used for having limited time in the gym. It certainly can be used for increasing frequency and decreasing volume. And of course, you can get results. There are many different ways to get results, and it depends on your goal. It depends on your goal, what you want the outcome to be. And a lot of times people don't train to align themselves with their actual goal. It's amazing how people just go to the gym and do random shit, and it's not set up to be optimal for what they want. Okay. You shouldn't just do anything. You have to really understand what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing. And most people don't. They just follow something they see, or they follow an Instagram account. Oh, let me do this workout. That's not training. That's exercising. You're just going and doing stuff and tiring yourself out. Going and doing random group exercise. Like, yeah, I'm just doing things. I'm going to feel exhausted. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get more results. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get what you want. Okay. Just exercising isn't going to get you fit per se. Like, what do you want as the end result? And then of course your training should be aligned with what you want as the outcome. So what are you doing right now? Whoever's watching, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're watching from, put in the comments right now, what's your split? What are you doing? Are you doing total body? How many days a week are you doing it? What is your breakdown? And remember, if you choose to increase how many times a week you're going to hit a muscle, each of those workouts is going to be less volume. You're not going to be crushing it with 30 sets because you're going to train it in a couple days. Vegan Gains says full body split. He's referring that one study by Brad Schoenfield, and Vegan Gains doesn't look that healthy and in that great shape, so I wouldn't follow anything that guy says. Total body logistics sucks for supersetting at the gym because there's too much people. Well, that could be, for supersetting, that could be a concern. That's a valid concern. Total body workouts may potentially take longer time. And like I said, if you're doing total body, you're getting less sets. You're not going to be hitting those individual muscle fibers as much. You're not going to be getting as much, biceps isolation or triceps isolation. And it depends on how your body grows and develops. If you're looking for increased strength on your bench press, okay, maybe it's fine. If you're looking for a bigger deadlift, maybe it's fine for total body. If you're looking for a bigger squat, maybe it's fine for total body. It depends, because most of you realize you're going to have lagging body parts. So you'll have people that follow these splits, but then be like, well, how do I get my arm? My arms aren't catching up. Or, hey, I have a big chest of this, but my arms are skinny. How do I? Because you're not fucking isolating body parts. Because you're not focusing on them. You do realize that you can't do general shit and get specific results. So that's where I differ, because you'll have people that follow this and fine. Let's say every study and every person, let's say it's a fact. Let's say it's an absolute fact. If you do total body, you can build muscle and you can get stronger. Well, in what sense does that mean? In what sense? Like, are you getting bigger? Where are you getting bigger? Everyone's going to react differently. A lot of you know that maybe you have trouble building your calves or forearms, or your biceps don't grow as well, or you're trying to build your triceps. Those might mean you need more attention and isolation. So your split might reflect a little bit more attention on those arms. So let's say your arms are lagging. So maybe you do 2 total body workouts, and another day you do arms. You crush that a little bit more specifically because you can only get a couple sets in with your total body workout, because otherwise you'll be there for 3 hours. Does that make sense? And remember, there's no wrong answer and there's no right answer. This is just observation. So it's nice to know. And like anything else in the gym, I wouldn't say that there's a bad route. I wouldn't say there's a bad routine. There's no bad exercise. A bad exercise is an exercise that's not either good for you at, physically, maybe with your alignment, with your limb length or whatever, or that doesn't get you your goals. So there's really nothing bad. Chains, bands, kettlebells, there's nothing bad, but it depends. They're all tools. And a mechanic doesn't use every tool all the time. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. What are you trying to accomplish in the gym? And are the tools that you are using in the gym going to get you those results? That's what it is. The gym is a toolbox, right? The gym is a toolbox. An exercise is a toolbox. Every single variable, think of variables as tools in a toolbox. How many sets, your split, rest periods, different types of exercise, different pieces of equipment, different time of day, morning and evening, 2 sessions, volume, frequency, duration, whatever. Those are all different tools, and you can choose different tools for different jobs, like a mechanic. Okay, so that's the problem I have with something where it does like a general study and then everyone takes it and runs with it. Oh, this is better. This is better. People love to read headlines. People love to read headlines. And in the study itself, it doesn't even say that this is better. It just shows the observation, and also it explains why splits are still awesome. It doesn't say that you can't get results either way. It's just another option, and it's nice to know that you have that tool and that there are benefits from that. Okay, so just think of all these variables as tools in the gym, not there's this answer and that's going to work. This is not going to work. This is good. This is bad. That doesn't exist. Because you'll see some people doing some weird fucking exercises, but they're getting great results. They don't have any problems. You might try that and blow your shoulder out. So come on, you see people doing flips and all this crazy shit online that most people can't do. Okay, doesn't mean you can't have great health and fitness because you can't do a double somersault and backflip. That's a specific type of training for a specific result and skill and all that. Bow, bow, bow. What do you think on sweet potatoes with every meal trying to add strength and size? With every meal? Well, it depends. It depends on, I love sweet potatoes. What do I think? I think it's an amazing carbohydrate. How does your body react to them? I don't know if anyone's really allergic or has issues with sweet potatoes. I think they're fabulous. I just had one myself. I had 2 today so far. I think sweet potatoes are great. That's my favorite carb. Push-pull legs every other day, full body on all compound lifts, chest and back, then deadlifts, legs, okay. Bow, bow, bow. Bum, bum, bum. So, yeah. You always have to be very skeptical when people read headlines and then just plant their flag. This is the best way. There are many different roads to success. And the interesting thing about bodybuilding and about strength, there's so many different things to do. There are many different things to do, many different things to do. And if you think of it as tools in a gym, then it makes a lot more sense. Okay. And it makes a lot more sense. And I hate it when people demonize one thing or another in the gym for training. The beautiful thing about the gym is you could do whatever the fuck you want. You can customize every last thing. You don't have to follow the herd. There are many, many studies that show, of course, you need to build strength. Strength and size are very closely related. If you're a natural lifter, yeah, you want to increase your strength. You want to be training for strength. You want to be lifting heavy. It's good for your bones. It's good for your anti-aging properties. It's good for maintaining muscle mass and functionality and mobility. In addition to doing yoga. We can talk about all these things. It's important that you're The most important thing, ready? The most important thing that I could tell you in relation to all this content, because you just heard and you just saw everyone drop, what their splits are, what they're doing. That can be very confusing. If you're watching this for the first time, holy fuck, where do I start? When you choose something, when it's nutrition based, when you do an elimination process, when you are approaching your training, I have to tell you the most important thing. This is my opinion, but the most important thing is you have to approach everything with the mindset of consistency. Are you going to be able to maintain this training style for the long term? Are you going to be able to maintain this nutrition habit for the long term? If you can't, you're not going to get results no matter what the fuck it is. And I think we can all agree, if someone can be consistent with a 4, 5, or 6 day split over the course of years, for example, with, let's say you're deloading properly, you're doing mobility, like all that other stuff being true. If you can be consistent with that, but total body workouts, you don't like it, you skip them, you're not consistent, you'll probably get a lot more results by training the first way with a split than the total body. If you love training total body and you push it and you're consistent as fuck, but a split just bores you out of your mind, you miss days, you miss workouts, then obviously the total body workout is going to be for you. The good thing about a total body workout is you're not missing body parts during a week. What I don't like about long splits. Now, I don't do long splits. I don't do chest on Monday. When I think of a bro split, I don't think of a bro split as like chest and triceps. I don't think of that as I think a bro split, if you want to really like, the classic bro split, that's like chest on one day. Then you have back on another day. Then you have like legs on another day. You have shoulders another day. And then you have either bis and tris or biceps, or you go to the gym. Like I can never imagine. I don't think I've ever gone to the gym. And just done like biceps. I don't think I ever have. I've gone to the gym and done a shoulder workout, but I've never gone to the gym and just done bis or tris or just quads. Like I don't like those types of splits. Now that might have application if you're a bodybuilder that's competing, right? And you're going to the gym like an extra day or something and you're trying to bring up a lagging body part. Like I think that's, I think there's applications. Like I said, there's no rule against going to the gym and just training fingers. If you want to do grip strength, what's your goal? If you're doing strongman training, you're going to do a lot of grip strength. Go to the gym and just do shrugs. Like, fuck it. Look, you're going to the gym. You're doing a lot better than most people. So I don't think there's necessarily a bad workout, but there could be bad training protocols. And if you're consistent, you're going to get more results. So the gym is work. You're going to the gym you're going to battle. You're going to the gym to go to war. You're going to fucking put in work. And whether or not you enjoy it is not important, and it's also very important. I don't really care so much whether or not you enjoy it. I care if you're going to be consistent with it. Because consistent training, consistent nutrition, over the long term is the only thing that matters. I don't care if you have the best fucking programming blah and you do it for 3 weeks and then you're off for 2 months and then you're back on it for a week and then you're off for another 2 weeks. Not going to get great results. So you need to be consistent with whatever you're doing. And if you can maintain, and here's the thing, if you're doing a split and you're doing a ton of volume, you're training really hard and you're doing a lot of frequency and you're not going to be consistent because you're probably going to overtrain, burn out, or get hurt, get tendonitis or something like that. And then you're not consistent. Again, an injury keeps you from being consistent. So if you're going to increase the frequency of body parts, then you need to decrease the volume, do less. Today, I did go to the gym and I did arms because my chest and back, I'm sore. I did legs yesterday, but I'm doing frequency but less volume. I did the lowest volume arm workout that I've done in a long time because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this to a different level. I'm experimenting with a couple things. I'm experimenting with frequency and volume myself. So I did less. I went hard, I did less volume, and boom, and I left. Shorter workouts. I like it better because I'm not crippled sore, but I still lift the weights and I'm focusing on strength. So everyone that's talking about strength and size, yeah, it makes a difference, right? You need to maintain strength. You're trying to improve strength to keep your size up, right? For muscle growth, for hypertrophy. But I know mentally, because I do a lot of stuff with editing, we do the podcast, and I'm doing a lot of, I don't have a lot of time. I don't leave myself a lot of time, but I have a lot of things I'm trying to get accomplished. So spending a lot of time in a gym, not my top priority anymore. I do filming in the gym. It's just something I want to be consistent. I want to do something that I can be consistent, and mentally, if I know, okay, I'm going to go in there, bang it out, and I'm out, I can get it done. I can prioritize that and I can get it done. If I think I'm going to do a high volume workout and, super high intensity, and there's more pressure. There's more pressure when you're doing a bigger split. And when I mean a bigger split, I mean spread out over more days, right? More of a bro split, chest or back only. There's more pressure because if you miss a day, it throws off that entire schedule, doesn't it? If you have a 5 or 6 day split, it throws off everything. If you have a total body workout, let's say you're doing total body 3 days a week, or 4 days every 10 days, whatever it is. Maybe every 2 or 3 days you're doing a total body workout. If you can't make it, or you feel a little bit sore, you do some yoga, it gets pushed back 1 day. So it's not catastrophic to, oh my God, I missed Tuesday, or I couldn't make it to the gym. I had a flat tire, so now my chest day is moved to Wednesday, and then my leg day is moved to Thursday, and then everything kind of gets backed up, and then all of a sudden my last day is on Monday instead of Sunday, and now it fucks with my head, and it fucks with my whole schedule, and I feel weird, and then you end up skipping something else. So, you have to be dynamic. You have to be adjusting. And I find that when I group more muscle groups together, for example, if I do upper lower, or I do total body, or I do chest and back, which honestly, like I said before, chest and back is pretty much upper. I think we can all agree. If you're doing chest and back, you're doing bench pressing. I go heavy. I'll do bench pressing, heavy rows. I do weighted pull-ups and negatives. You're fucking working everything. My shoulders get jacked. My arms are sore. You're working everything. Chest and back is an upper body workout. There's no way around it. You're not just ignoring your arms and only isolating your chest and back. When I do chest and back, I'm not doing isolation fancy shit. I go in there and I crush the basics, right? And then I might add some, I do dumbbell pullovers. I love incline and flat bench. I love dumbbells. I love pull-ups. I love rows. I do, you focus on the shit. You focus on the mass monster exercises. And I feel that there's more leeway. There's more room for error. And when I say error, there's more room for those variables. That's what I mean. There's more room for the unknown. There's more room for the unknown to occur, because chaos in life is guaranteed. You don't know when it's going to happen. And if your schedule gets fucked up and switched around and you lose the ability to make it to the gym on one day, you have to be able to keep your consistency and keep your cool, and psychologically make sure you keep your focus. And if you lose your focus and you lose your consistency, you're going to lose your way, and it's very easy. So I think it's better to keep more of if you're going to do a split, keep it like a macro split, in the sense of, like I'm talking about, chest and back saves a lot of time. Easy to do supersets, keeps all the blood in the upper body. Big exercises, it's great. If you want to do upper, you want to call it upper, fine. You want to do total body, fine. But keep your split maybe 3 days, 4 days before it repeats. Do your yoga, do your meditation, make sure you're eating right, sleeping right, and it'll give you some more leeway if something comes up. And that's how you hack this kind of chaos that is going to happen in your life. You don't allow it to make as much of an impact on your training, because your training protocol is designed to absorb those kind of shocks. So for example, you're driving down the highway and you have a little pothole, it doesn't blow out your fucking tire and flip your car and you get into a massive accident because you went over a bump. That's what your training program has to be designed to do. It has to be designed to absorb the shock and the bumps and the pebbles and all the little deviations and detours that life is going to throw at you, because all those little detours are going to take you away from being consistent. And you might not see as, missing a day here, missing a day there, skipping this, skipping a week here as a big deal. But over the course of months and years, yeah, it's going to add up. And psychologically, it keeps you less adherent to your training, and a lot of you probably feel this kind of stress too, on days when you're not training, It's harder for you to focus on nutrition. You take a day off, you want to slack, you wake up later because you're sleeping in on a Sunday or a Saturday, or your Wednesday you have off. So you sleep in, so you feel different in the morning. You feel a little bit hungover because you got extra sleep and you caught up. There are a lot of things that are going to try to pull you away from being consistent. So to be relentlessly consistent, frequency is important. It's going to keep you consistent. It's going to keep you on that schedule. And if you're adjusting the volume around that type of frequency, you'll be more consistent in the long run. You get more results. My girlfriend just said she likes her workouts and she likes her men. She likes her workouts like she likes her men. Long and hard? Is that what she said? She likes her workouts like, I'm assuming, I'm trying to complete the joke. You didn't finish the joke. She likes her workouts like she likes her men. Zumba? I'm assuming long and hard. Holly, I don't understand people who don't exercise like it's a choice or something only some people do. Well, if you allow it to be a choice. Oh, quick and easy? Oh, she likes her workouts like her men, quick and easy. Ugh. All men are quick and easy. All men are quick and easy. I thought you were going to say long and hard. She likes her volume. Quick and easy. All dudes are quick and easy. You don't have to work a guy too hard. You see stand-up comedians all the time. It's like, it's not hard to get a dude. It's not hard to get a dude. It's hard to get a woman because, all the dudes are trying to knock on the door. A woman could be like, you, come here. A guy would be like, okay. Guys are easy. All guys are quick and easy. Oh, that coffee. Got that sweat going on. Oh, that's why I said ew. Yeah. Well. All right. So what do you all think? I know a lot of you listed your training programs and your splits right now. So this episode, it's not saying go ditch your split. It doesn't say I'm not saying go do total body workouts, but understand that when you are adjusting your programming, keep that in mind, that you can increase the frequency, but you're going to have to sacrifice something. You're going to have to sacrifice the volume. Your individual workouts may get longer and they're going to get less specific on individual muscle groups. So if you have things that you're chasing for aesthetic purposes, if you have lagging body parts, those are going to need more specific attention. And although you'll have biceps that get hit in back exercise and triceps and shoulders, it's not the same doing chest and back to get big shoulders. It's not the same as targeting your shoulders. And that's why bodybuilders, steroids or not, do this type of split where they focus on their shoulders, because if you want that shape, if you want that extra growth, like, you have to isolate. You have to focus on those areas. You're not going to get wonderfully developed, proportionate, aesthetic shoulders and really have a real full developed posterior deltoid, this, that, and the other, by just doing basic compound movements. All right. Basic compound movements, you might build muscle, you might build strength, but maybe not evenly in all muscle groups, maybe not, proportionately to one another, you'll get stronger in the lift, but where's this muscle going? So bodybuilding and aesthetics are different than just overall strength. And, so it depends on how you react. And I think a lot of you are aware of this. When you do regular movements, you're going to look in the mirror and be like, well, my X, Y, and Z, maybe your chest or your triceps are lagging behind, or you don't like how you have one muscle area that's developing more and you see one lagging behind. So you have to be aware of that. So it's not just like blanket, boom, total body. Well, you're going to have to adjust along the way, and it's okay. And your body and what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. And as your goals change, your programming may change, and that's okay too. That's okay too. I like that, Jason. I am of the mindset that I don't have to work out. I get to work out. I feel fortunate that I get to work out. That's one of the most powerful things you can say to yourself. Instead of thinking of I have to, just switch it out. With anything that you have to do, swap out the phrase I have to with I get to, and it makes everything positive. Like, I have to take out the garbage. Like, I get to take out the garbage. I can use my arms. I can walk. I have garbage that I actually create. Think about, like, you have the food and you have the ability to create that waste, that to have garbage. A lot of people don't have food. So yeah, you think about the positives of everything. I get to do laundry. some people don't have clothes. Some people don't have a house. Some people don't have a washing machine. So if you change I have to with I get to, it changes your whole psychological output and everything. This is why I tell girls to raise their damn standards. Well, I don't know. That's all relationship stuff that we don't even have to get into. Ladies, the only advice I can give you is find a dude who lifts and find a dude that doesn't skip legs. Don't skip legs. Don't follow these these calisthenic people that just do all these muscle ups and pull ups and have skinny ass little legs. Enjoy your bar training. Skipping leg day every day. Some people sleep in garbage. We have people to take it for us. Amazing. That's true. That's true. Well, this podcast took a turn, right? We're talking about volume and frequency, and we're sleeping in garbage. But that's all true. So, leaving this episode, now you know more about frequency and volume, that you can get amazing results with both, and you have the ability to take out your garbage. Like I'm thinking, I'm looking around the room right now. I'm thinking, do I have any garbage to take out? Now I got to live up to this. I think I'm going to do some laundry. I'm going to do some fucking laundry to edit some videos. What do you think about that, fam? Huh? You like that? What do you think about that shit? What's up? What up? All right, fam. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, every damn day you can go and check out yesterday's episode, today's episode. Make sure you subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere. Go to swolenormousx.com and click on podcast so you can subscribe now. And you can also check out the programs and everything else I got available over there. Follow me everywhere at Swolenormous, and I'll see everyone tomorrow for episode 903 of The Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gamecast, mancast, pimpcast, and sleevescast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Thanks for joining me. See you mañana. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose, your boy Papa Swole. Out.